皆さんこんにちは、マイランです。今回の動画はコラボ動画になります。今まで日本に住んでいるベトナム系の方々にインタビューをしてきたんですけれども、今回はちょっと違った動画になります。今回は私が大学時代に出会ったアメリカで生まれたベトナム系のお友達にインタビューをしました。で、日本にいる、ベトナムのルーツを持った方とアメリカにいるベトナムのルーツを持った方って本当に生まれ育った環境が全く違うので、この自分のアイデンティティに対して全く違う捉え方をするんですけれども、今日はその一例としてお話をしていただこうかなって思います。で、もちろん個人個人で自分のアイデンティティについて、違った考えを持っているのは普通だと思うんですね。で、最近チャンネルの趣旨とは違ったコメントをいただくことが多くて、何ですかね、特に理解を求めてこういう動画を作っているわけじゃなくて、同じ悩みを持っている方が悩みを解消する手助けになれば、一種のサンプルみたいな感じで撮っていただければなって思ってたので、ちょっと私も最近自分の動画をどう向き合っていくのかっていうのを考え直したことはあったんですけれども、今後もね、アイデンティティと向き合うためのなんていうんですかね、チャンネルとして運営できたらなって思っております。では早速ゲストの方に登場してもらいましょう。
So my name is Kevin. I am second generation Vietnamese American. I'm from Orange County, California, so specifically Westminster. I guess Anaheim too. And I am now a software engineer in Tokyo. 自己紹介では日本語でも大丈夫なんですけど、僕はケビンです。出身はアメリカでカリフォルニア州と南部で生まれ育ちです。僕はそうですね、日世ベトナム系アメリカ人です。仕事は都内でソフトウェアエンジニアです。はい。
働いてますか？はい。
そうですね。
はい、ありがとうございます。OK、ケビンは、私が大学時代アメリカの、南カリフォルニアで出会ったお友達なんですけど、もともとフラトンカレッジで出会いましたね。なんで、何年もう十何年ぐらいの中だよね。2014、2013、14年そう。私たち、が出会ったのが、日本語のクラスでね、私が、友達に頼んで日本語のチューターやりたいってなった時に、
その時に、名前はまだベトナムっぽくて、日本語を教えて、もしかしたら日本の生まれ育ちか、実はカリフォルニア州で結構ベトナム系がいっぱいいるんですけど、日本ではちょっと珍しいかなと思ってました。
だよね。普段私とケビン英語で喋るから英語で喋った方がやりやすいかもね。
そうかもね。
はい。じゃあちょっとあとは字幕を入れます。今回ケビンに Q&A でベトナム人2世としてのお話をしたいと思います。So, let's start. How do you define yourself? Do you think you're American or Vietnamese American or like how do you think about it?
I feel very out of touch with Vietnamese side. I mean, I did grow up with a lot of relatives and I did speak Vietnamese at home, but meeting Vietnamese now, I feel like I'm not Vietnamese at all.
Because my YouTube channel, I always talk about how I feel or how, like other people who are Vietnamese second generation and how do they feel about themselves. So I try to ask them like how they grew up, how they feel about their identity. So you said you are more American than Vietnamese, but your parents are kind of like, they raise you as a Vietnamese person.
Did they know?
Did they or did...
I mean, everybody spoke Vietnamese at home. My
Yes.
siblings spoke Vietnamese.
Yes.
We even had, I don't know why we call them other names that aren't their actual Vietnamese names. I guess I learned that they are actually nicknames, just like a cute nickname like the Orbe.
Yeah.
And that's not even their actual name.
Yeah, so like, true. Yes.
I'm like, why? I've been calling you this my whole life. Why I can't call you something else?
So, what is your actual name?
No, I'm the only one who doesn't have one.
Oh, so you're just like Kevin for whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, じゃあもうアメリカ人じゃん。
Yeah.
Like me too. Like I only have name Mylan and they don't call me nickname. Like even though like my cousin, she has Vietnamese name as Nguyen, but then everybody call her Betty. But then her English name is Quinn. So I get confused. Like which one should I call her?
So different.
So different. Yeah, all the names sounds like Vietnamese. So
I guess so, yeah.
interesting, yes. Okay.
Mm.
So, okay, so you define yourself as kind of more American. Okay.
Mm.
I think I asked you this question, but did your parents raise you as a Vietnamese? All the custom, like, when you visit
Mm.
relatives,
Mm-hmm,
they ask you
mm-hmm,
to,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
greet
You
in a
have
specific way.
you have to say ciao to every single person in the
Yes.
whole house, and then when you leave, you
Yes.
do it again.
Yeah, and then you have to kind of like cross like
Yep,
this.
yep, yep.
And then like you have to remember
Mhm.
that each chỗ hai and cô ba, kind of like that, like cô chú gì cậu.
Yes, it's so many, and you don't even know why you're calling them that. You just do.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
feel to this day, I still have very weird Vietnamese. I
Uh,
feel like a lot of Vietnamese say it's very cute, and I'm just like, what is that supposed to mean?
it's like, to me, it's like in Japan, some people
Mm,
say the foreign students, they try to speak Japanese and then they have the
mm,
accent and then we think it's cute. So maybe it's like that. When you speak Vietnamese to
maybe.
your relatives, they think that way.
Well, not my relatives, but
Like,
my last company was Vietnamese, so I met
oh,
a lot of people
like
from
yeah,
Vietnam, and
the locals, yes.
yeah, I'm a little surprised that they speak much better English than the previous generation. I think it's gotten a lot better over the years.
You mean like our parents' generation?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this is not that same accent.
Yes. Okay. I think because our parents'
Mm,
generation, they're mostly
right.
like first generation, right? They just moved to America and
Hmm.
they
Mm.
grew up with the Vietnamese. So yeah, they have really like a strong accent.
I think it depends which part of Vietnam, though.
I like the accent of each brand. They say like Tesla as
Uh,
Tesla, Chanel as what? Like
Chanel,
Chanel.
snail.
Yeah. And then
That
what
sounds
else?
like snail to me.
Yeah.
They say Mercedes-Benz as
Oh yeah.
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes. Like these kind of conversation is very
Mm,
common in America, but
mm,
in Japan, people don't really talk about like how like Vietnamese people speak Japanese and then they all think
mm.
it's racist to touch that topic. Like we don't make a joke about it. So it's kind of like hard to live in
I
Japan as a
think
Vietnamese. Yes.
it's very different for Vietnamese Americans
Mm-hmm.
because America had a very big influence to the Vietnamese War. So
Yes.
many Vietnamese that immigrated to America, there's a very large community and they
Mm.
really embraced
Yes.
America as such. And I think in my experience, there
Mm-hmm.
was there are so many other people like me. We can relate and
Mm.
it's not weird. We kind of all understand each other like culturally and language wise too.
Yes.
It's mostly Southern Vietnamese though.
Yes.
So there are some that are from the north,
Yes.
but they feel like they had to change their Vietnamese to be around the Southern Vietnamese.
Yeah. Especially in
Mm,
Westminster, it's very hard,
mm-hmm,
right? Because
mm-hmm,
historically there's like lots of conflict between the
mm.
northern Vietnamese and southern Vietnamese. I'll jump into the next topic. Did your parents teach you any history of Vietnam? Like, because your parents are immigrant during the
Mm-hmm,
wartime. I mean, after
mm-hmm,
war. Of course, their history or background is
mm-hmm,
southern Vietnamese. Did they
mm-hmm.
teach you about the government at that time or like current situation or how they escaped the country?
They were also boat people. I feel like my whole life, my mom has been telling me about how traumatic that was because
Yes.
at that time, it's
Yes.
like they don't know what's happening. They
Yeah.
just get on the boat if they can. If
Yes.
you're caught, you're killed or you're sent
Yes.
to another camp. So
Yes.
that was step one. Takes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money. And then
Yes.
at the time, whoever was on the boat, there would have been a chance if they went the wrong way and just
Yeah.
into the deep ocean and
Yes.
they just are done. They run out of food, they're dead.
Hmm.
But fortunately, they made it to the Philippines, be in a refugee camp there, and then
Mm.
make their way to America. So yeah, I don't know how long they were there. I think it was maybe a few weeks, but I'm sure it was a very long few weeks.
And maybe we are at the same age when your parents moved to America, right?
So they were probably mid-20s or so.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you think about that, like it's such a big, how do I say?
They
Yeah.
were very young at the time. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say they were in their early 20s when they got married. And right when that happened, the war happens, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what's happening. So they're just trying to do what they can, but they
Yes.
already have kids. I'm sure that was very scary with my first brother.
Yes.
Yeah, oldest.
How old is he now?
He's 13 years older than me, so he's going to be 46 this year. He's 45.
Wow.
Hmm,
Okay.
right.
But he doesn't remember, right? Of course, because he was little when he moved to America.
He might have been maybe
Mm.
6 years old or so. Probably kind of does, but I'm
Yes.
sure that was a very, I don't know, very short
Yes.
time. Hopefully, I don't know. That
Yeah.
does sound very traumatic on his end too.
So, your parents moved to America, and
Mhm.
how did they adapt to America? It's
Um,
really hard, right? Like, 'cause,
so
yeah.
my parents already learned a lot of English before they came to America. While they were in the Philippines, you
Yes.
actually have to, it's kind of like applying for that refugee status.
Yes.
You need to learn this much English and
Yes.
with this intention of assimilating to America.
Hmm.
So they were pretty prepared. I can imagine there are a lot of other Vietnamese who probably didn't make that cut. And
Mm.
yeah, they were probably stuck in the Philippines for a while or something, or went to a different country.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think my parents were relatively prepared.
Mm.
Particularly my mom, she studied a lot of English before.
Mm.
And yeah, they were relatively, hmm, I'm sure that they had a lot of hardships at first because they need to adapt to the culture and
Hmm.
the customs. And it sounds like they got scammed a lot at
Yeah.
first. They already
Yeah.
spent all their money
Yes.
trying to leave Vietnam. So they had no money already.
Right.
And to get scammed from there too when you
Oh my
already don't have
gosh.
money. So yeah.
Such a sad story, but
Mm.
luckily you're born. And
Yeah.
did you have any difficulties when you were in
I
school?
probably had it the best out of my siblings. I'm the
Mm.
youngest. I got a lot of their hand-me-downs, sagari,
Mm. Mm.
and all of them, they didn't really have too much of that.
Mm.
So it was a lot of used things,
Mm.
but I like to think I had an easier time than they did because I think my
Yes.
family was a lot more established then. Yeah, I don't think I can imagine right after the war there are so many other Vietnamese kids just like us who
Mm.
grew up in a outside of Vietnam and
Yes.
well at least in California
Mm.
they kind of already can relate to each other. There are so many other ones. I would say because you did introduce Westminster, and
Yes.
that is probably the biggest Vietnamese community outside of Vietnam.
Yes.
So Vietnamese people in America they're very known to have drive.
Yes.
There are so many doctors and lawyers who are
Yes.
Vietnamese in
Yes.
America. And I think that is because their generation, their parents came from, said, hey, we came from nothing. We need to make what we can with this opportunity we have. So I think it's within that culture too. Like in American culture, sure, it's very independent, but I don't think they have that same kind of drive that Vietnamese did. And
Mm.
that's kind of why they're kind of respected in America, actually.
Mm. Even today, we have lots of like consuls, people who work in the government. There are
Right,
lots of
right.
Vietnamese people too.
Hmm.
Yes. And have you ever talked to anyone in America who had a same background and share like your parents' hardship? Like, your parents are both people, and then, for example, your friend or neighbor, there's another both people. Have you ever talked to them? Like kind of like
Um,
a school project or anything like
Not really a school project like that, but I
okay.
can imagine my mom would tell me like during the war, there are so many people
Hmm.
who come from so many different backgrounds. Like sometimes they got lucky or something, or it
Yes.
was only the really rich people that can leave Vietnam so
Yes.
easily.
Yes.
Or if you weren't so rich, you knew somebody who was, or
Mm.
maybe you owned that boat.
Mm.
So it was kind of, I don't want to say interesting, but it was
Mm.
kind of like so many different people from different walks of life
Mm.
came together like that.
Yes.
And that is kind of part of their experience. And I mean, hopefully they're still friends today, but I can imagine that was a really scary experience that they had to really kind of work together to, yeah, they were all confused and
Yes.
they I feel like a lot of Vietnamese tend to kind of huddle together, especially
Yes.
Southern Vietnamese.
Yes.
I I like to compare them to what kind of like Kansai people.
Oh yeah, like a
They
Osaka or like a
they're very
Kobe people.
open and kind of
Yes.
funny.
Maybe we're in like how do I say like a hot weather, like Okinawa people.
That's
Yes.
true, yeah.
To the next question. So, have you ever been to Vietnam?
No.
No.
I don't have any relatives in Vietnam.
Oh, you
They
don't have.
already,
Mm.
not that I know of.
They
Most of
all
them came
moved.
to America.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was much younger, when I was still maybe 6 years old or so.
Mm.
Some of them were still in Vietnam, but they we're their family in America and we can
Mm.
try to help them have a better life.
Mm.
So we did sponsor them,
Mm-hmm.
especially for our parents and their grandparents and whatnot. I think my grandparents were relatively well off,
Mm.
so they came. I still remember them when I was very young.
Mm.
So yeah, they were fine, but we still
Mm.
had other relatives too. Yeah.
Mm.
I had been wanting to go to Vietnam, but I wanted to go with my dad, maybe
Mm.
2 years ago.
Mm.
So it had been his first time back in Vietnam in 40 years or
Mm.
so. And he told me his hometown is just completely different. It's not what he
Yes.
remembered. It's a tourist
Yeah.
town now. I don't know. I think it would have meant a lot to go with him, but if
Mm.
I go now, it doesn't really mean too much, especially because my brother recently went
Mm.
and he said, no, it's not good there. Don't go
No.
there. Go somewhere else.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's like a beach resort town, Nha Trang.
Oh, you're
And
from Yachan.
I feel like that's the kind of Vietnamese I'm used to. I started noticing
Yes.
differences between my mom and dad a little more
Yes.
recently when I started working at my last company.
Yes.
But yeah, I can kind of see subtle differences in how they speak. Supposedly,
Oh,
Nha
yes.
Trang is kind of like considered the laziest.
Because it's a beach resort.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Just how they speak and everything.
20 years ago, it was
Mm,
different. And
mm,
all of a sudden, the tourism
mm.
boom and
Right.
it's so different. Yeah,
Mm,
it's kind of sad. Like
mm,
it's nice for tourists to visit Nha Trang because it's fun and it's cleaner, has
mm.
more attractions. But for locals, maybe like whoever used to grow up there. Well, it's same to me though. I'm from
Imagine,
Osaka.
yeah,
And
it's like
then, yeah, you know how Osaka station has developed? Because 20 years ago, the toilet was so
it's,
dirty, and
it's not
then
nice.
yeah, and then the basement, the Chikagai, now it's like a maze. You know, if you want to go to maybe like a Umeda station to Osaka station, you have to kind of like look around, and then there's so many signs you don't know, you get lost. Like a Shibuya station too.
Oh man, or Shinjuku, it's just both
Yes.
stations do not look finished. They're never finished.
Yes, like a Disneyland. If you have a chance, where do you want to go? Like, even though you have not a positive
It's it's not that,
impression,
but
but
I
yeah.
think I would feel a lot more comfortable in the South just
Hmm.
because I can communicate easier. Like northern
Yes.
people, I understand maybe half of what they're saying.
Yeah, it's too hard for us to catch the
It's
dialect.
I like to compare it to American English and British English.
So true, yes. Sometimes they
It's
use
like
different vocabulary and
it's
yeah.
completely different words and
Yes.
pronunciation, but would you still consider it the same language?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kind of. But somehow the people or culture
Hmm.
is slightly different because what they protect is kind of different.
Kind of hard to believe that those are in the same country. South and North in
Yes.
Vietnam.
It's hard to ask the question, is the origin same? No, but yeah. But then that's how I start learning about Vietnamese history.
Mm,
Originally, it's from the same people, but then you
mm,
divide it and then had a kingdom and then separate
mm.
and same like other country. But Japan is so different because Japan has like 2,600 years of history and they never kind of changed. So that's why it's kind of unique. Japan and other country, like the
Is that
history is so longer.
is that why we still use fax machines in Japan?
Fax machine. So, let me jump to the next question. Okay, so was there any difficulties being a Vietnamese American?
So I
はい、ご覧いただきありがとうございました。今回ですね、私の友達ケビンがアメリカで育ったということで、私もアメリカで留学したっていうのがあって、こう自分とのアイデンティティの向き合い方についてのよりなんですかね、解像度が、普通に日本で生まれ育ってベトナムのアイデンティティを持っていると、なかなか自分のこのアイデンティティについてオープンにできないんですよね。なんですけれども、アメリカでの留学を通して自分と似たようなバックグラウンドを持っている方、似てはいないけど似たようなルーツを持っている方と出会うことができて、こういう考え方もあるんだとか、育った環境によって同じルーツでも全く違う性格になるんだとか、全く違う捉え方になるんだっていうのを勉強できたので、今こうやって私の友達ケビンとこういうアイデンティティについて話せるっていうのも貴重な存在だなって思いました。はい、ではですね、これからもこの私のお友達ケビンにも登場していただくので、もしよろしければ彼の YouTube だったりとか、Instagram もフォローしていただけたら嬉しいです。はい、ではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。